There are many videos on YouTube that teach you how to play 5 notes on the ride cymbal using either a push-pull or a drop-catch technique. Very few of these videos address how to actually use this technique in conjunction with the rest of the drum set. As a result, drummers would be playing using all 4 limbs and then abruptly stop to play 5 notes on the ride. To me, this sounds super jarring and it disrupts the flow of the music. In this video, I want to offer up an exercise that you can do to work on playing 5 notes on the ride cymbal while still using the other 3 limbs. This video is sort of a sequel to my 2 Tony Williams videos, so make sure you check those out if you haven't already. My name is Colin Dorian, and this is how to actually use push-pull. In my video, How to Play Like Tony Williams Part 2, I discuss a concept called goosing the ride cymbal. For that lesson, I only focus on using the snare drum to goose the cymbal. I did this by tapping the snare on the upbeats with the ride cymbal. When you play 5 notes on the ride using push-pull, you'll notice that the pattern splits into 2, a 3-note side and a 2-note side. So when playing the snare drum on the upbeats of the 5-note pattern, it's very uncomfortable. This is because the upstrokes and the downstrokes don't line up naturally with the snare hits. When you play the snare on the 1st and 4th notes of the ride pattern, it feels much more comfortable. This made me realize that the reason drummers tend to not play with their other limbs while doing 5 notes on the ride is because they haven't worked on coordinating their other limbs with upstrokes and downstrokes. For this exercise, I had to figure out how to get my other limbs to systematically play on every beat of the 5-note ride cymbal pattern. My answer to this was to take a 4-note pattern between the snare drum and bass drum and insert one hi-hat hit into it. The hi-hat would start by playing before the 4-note drum pattern, and then I would move it down an 8th note until it was playing after the pattern. This makes one 4-note snare and bass drum pattern into 5 5-note 3-limb patterns. I will demonstrate moving the hi-hat through a 4-note pattern of alternating singles between the snare and bass. Once you get that, you can add the 5-note ride cymbal pattern on top of the other 3 limbs. I'll demonstrate this exercise with both permutations of alternating singles between the snare drum and bass drum. The click will be on beat 1 of this 3-beat cycle, with the dotted half note clicking at 50 beats per minute. Once I got through the singles between the snare and bass, I did the same thing with the 4 permutations of doubles. Once you get the coordination down, this is a great exercise to work on your ride cymbal speed and endurance. Currently, I can only play this exercise at 85 beats per minute with like 90% accuracy. common misconception about the 5-note ride cymbal pattern is that Tony Williams was the first person to do this. I thought this too until I heard early recordings of Roy Haynes, Max Roach, and Art Taylor playing 5 consecutive notes on the ride. Check out the track Southside off of the album Wardell Gray Memorial Volume 1. This track was recorded in 1949, and it has Roy Haynes playing eerily similar to how Tony Williams would be playing 15 years later. I bring this up because I want drummers to realize that they can use the 5-note pattern with more than just Tony Williams in mind. Check out drummers like Jack DeJohnette, Lenny White, Kendrick Scott, and Marcus Gilmore to hear different uses of push-pull. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.